Hello and aloha! I'm Patrick Akes. I'm the California-Hawaii Elks Association Public Relations Chairman. Woo! It is great to be an elk. Just recently, I had the opportunity to have a sit-down, one-on-one interview with my Elks mentor. He's a past exalted ruler from Corona Elks Lodge number 2045, past association vice president, past district deputy grand exalted ruler, past association first vice president, past California-Hawaii Elks Association president, and past grand esteemed loyal knight. That's right, I'm talking about my friend, Mr. Frank Keller.
Yes, I'm Frank Keller, past association president and past Grand Lodge loyal knight, grand esteemed loyal knight. Actually, I'm Francis Keller. That means my mother's not here, it's Frank.
What made you want to join the Elks?
That's a long story. It all started when I was in elementary school. I don't know, third, fourth grade. I remember going to the Elks Christmas party, and we used to go to the Knights of Columbus Christmas party, but they didn't have good candy. So we'd all head out for the Elks, and that's where the action was. The room was filled with kids, and it was excellent. And I've always had this desire that I might like to join the Elks someday. Or, you know, not exactly to join the Elks, but I always had real good thoughts about the Elks. So, going many years forward, when I moved to Riverside, I belonged to the Knights of Columbus. And after the Knights of Columbus meeting, all these guys headed out for the Elks Lodge. I thought, you know, nobody ever asked me to join the Elks. It kind of ticked me off. So moving forward again, I started a business here in Corona. And one day a woman was in renting something, and she mentioned that her husband belonged to the Elks. And I mentioned that I always wanted to join the Elks. Well, about a half hour later, there was this guy in front of my desk with an application for membership. And that's how I joined the Elks. I had to ask.
Okay.
Yeah, I joined the Corona in 1971. Yes. And that's how it all started for me. And it's been a long journey.
After you joined the Elks in 1971, you went through the chairs?
Yes.
How did you get involved in the chairs?
When I first started coming down to the meetings, we ate, we had dinner and meeting, and I never quite got involved. So eventually it was easier to stay home than to come to a meeting. So I stayed home. And one day I was at my business, and this guy showed up down there, and he said, you know, I know you belong to the Elks. He said, I'd like you to be my inner guard. I said, oh no. I said, I've been through the chairs in the Knights of Columbus. I know once you take a chair, they want you to go all the way. You're stuck. I said, I don't want anything to do with it. He said, absolutely not. He said, all you have to do is this 1 year for me, and then you're done. You don't have to do another thing. So I said, yeah, okay. And that's how it all started. Yeah, that's how it started. And this guy is still an elk, although the guy, interesting, the guy that took my application in front of my, at my business, he is no longer an elk. I never heard from him again, in fact. But the guy that asked me to be his inner guard was the incoming exalted ruler. I figured out later that I was probably his last choice. He probably asked everybody in the world, and I was the last guy in the whole list. But anyhow, I accepted it, and that's what started me going through the chairs, and to this day, I guess. Never learned to say no.
So what year did you become exalted ruler?
1979, 1980.
Did you have goals for the lodge when you became exalted ruler?
Yes, I did, as a matter of fact. My goal was membership and retention. I wanted to have a plus year in membership. I thought once I got to be exalted ruler, all these guys that didn't pay dues, we're going to kick them off. So now I'm going to start my slate with a clean year. Nobody is in the rears. Well, as it happened, at the end of my year, there was another 20-some on the lapsation list. So it all works out, but we know we didn't meet the goal. But that was my goal, membership. For some reason, I always got involved in membership. I don't know why. Anyhow.
Membership is the lifeblood of the Elks.
Yes. I have been involved in the membership committee my whole career practically. But it's been interesting.
After your exalted ruler year, you went into the district.
Uh-huh.
Other than being vice president or district deputy, what was your favorite district job?
You know, I really didn't have a favorite district job. Somehow, after I exalted ruler, I ended up being district membership chairman and district lapsation chairman and district foundation chairman. And each one is very interesting and quite involved. But in those days, the membership chairman, we didn't get the input from Grand Lodge. You had to contact every lodge. You had to get all their numbers. You had to compile it all for the district. Then you had to send it to the state chairman, and et cetera. So it was quite a job in those days. So I don't say I had a favorite job, but they were all interesting. You know, I didn't have that many district jobs because I went in to be VP quite fast.
Well, speaking of being vice president, when you were vice president, who was the California-Hawaii Elks Association president?
Ken Moore.
And what year was that?
CHEA vice president, 1982, 1983. Yeah.
Other than being association president, as you were, what was your favorite state job?
I've had so many state jobs, it's hard to pinpoint. I think I've had more state jobs than any other person in the association. But I was the Elk of the Year in 1988, 89, 90.
Okay.
And I was elected honorary life member in 1992. Then I was vice president in 82, 83. I was the California Hawaii Elks Association membership chairman for 4 years, 83 to 84, 84 to 85. That's 2 years. 2 years. And I was district deputy from 85 to 86. And I was lodge activities chairman in 86 to 88. And I was National Foundation chairman from 88 to 90. Then I was assistant sergeant of arms 93 to 94. And I was the administrative assistant to the Grand Exalted Ruler 94 to 95. CHEA trustee 96 to 97. First vice president 97, 98. President 98, 99. Grand Lodge Membership Committee 2000 to 2005. Grand Lodge Membership Committee Chairman 2003 to 2005. I was Southeast District Leader from 1993 to 2004. I was the CHEA Meetings Committee Vice Chairman 2007 to 2007 to 2011. The CHEA Meetings Committee Chairman from 2011 to 13. CHEA Board of Trustees from 2009 to 2015. CHEA Board Treasurer 2010 to 13. CHEA Chairman from 2013 to 15. And Grand Esteemed Loyal Knight 2016 to 17.
So you don't have a favorite job? I mean, you did a lot with membership.
I did a lot with membership, yeah. The first year that I was state membership chairman was the last year that the California Hawaii Elks Association had a plus in membership. The second year that I was the CHEA membership chairman was the first year that the association had a decrease in membership, and we have not had an increase in membership until recently. So I've always had that craw in my throat. And then when I was Grand Lodge membership chairman, it was a big job, but I didn't reach any goals there either. The Grand Lodge continued to decrease in membership, and no matter what we did, we couldn't change it around. Thank God it's changing now. People are now becoming interested in becoming Elks again. And the only thing positive on my membership, Grand Lodge membership, other than being the chairman, was I devised the current membership application that they're using now. They used to have one that was this big, an 8.5 by 11 foot piece of paper that was folded in the middle. It was a 4-page thing, front, back, and in the middle, and I wanted a trifold that you could carry in your pocket. So,
What year were you association president?
President, 98, 99.
When you were association president, did you have a slogan that year?
Yes, I did.
And what was it?
Elks, investing in the future.
And as association president, did you have goals for CHEA?
Yes, of course I did. I had, my primary goal was a major project, piggy bank, and raising funds, and I had tried to set new records there, which we accomplished, I feel, for that particular year. Yeah, we raised that year for piggy bank $3,096,411.81. 16 years before that date, we went over 2 million. So in my year, we went over 3 million. So that was the first year we did 3 million.
So as president, you had your goal for major projects, which you had a goal and you set those goals and you accomplished it.
Yes.
What other goals did you have as association president?
Of course, membership. Always had membership in my mind, and we strove to increase membership. Never happened though. It's always been a sore subject with me that of all the years that I've had to do with membership in one way or another, I just never achieved the goal that I set in that regard. That's always been a sore spot with me. So I'm happy to see that things are turning around in that regard. I'm sorry that it wasn't because of anything I did.
They're getting ready to go to Grand Lodge here in the next week, and California, Hawaii is #1 in the nation.
Yes, I understand that. I'm very happy about that. Excellent.
What other goals did you have as association president?
Well, I thought publicity was important, and I don't think I really achieved those goals. However, that's kind of turning around too now. Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. I think we're really remiss in not patting ourselves on the back and letting people know what we do. We've done a lot in these years that I first started out in this organization, in the Elks, and we've just never let people know. It's never been brought out in the paper or anything, and I always strove for publicity, but it just, you know, you can't do it all yourself. As president, you can set the goals, but you have other people that you rely on, and consequently, that's where it sets. You know, you have chairman, and some do the job quite well, and some don't.
Are you still active in your own home lodge?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I still come to meetings. I still go to events and things like that. Yes.
Did you go by association president or state president then in '99?
When I came in, it wasn't the first vice president. It was president vice president at large. So when I came in, I was going to be the vice president at large, and I said, I don't want to be the vice president at large. I hate that. I said, I'll be the first vice president, but not the at large. So they changed the name. That's when it started. A year I was the first vice president. Otherwise, before that, it was vice president at large. So I had that changed.
So when you became president, were you considered state president or association president? Because just in the last several years, when Don Schultz was president, is when they started announcing associate vice president.
No, it was past association president. It was it was state president, but it was actually association president because they tended not to include Hawaii, and we want to include Hawaii in this. So it's actually the association president, PAP, they call it, past association president. But nobody else knows what PAP is or past association president. It's just state president, but we are the past association presidents. We are that, if you get technical about it.
Past association president, what is your job and duties now?
Well, I had a lot of them after I went out of office. I went over them with you, but right now, I don't have any jobs. So what my jobs now are advisory committee. So I attend the Grand Lodge conventions and midterm conventions as an advisor. There are Anthony Murrow, Tim Martin, and myself. Anthony was vice president with me, and he went on to become association president and grand trustee. Tim Martin, of course, he went on to become the director, California director, and he was the Grand Esteemed Loyal Knight, and he was a grand trustee. So Tim is quite involved, quite proud of Tim. I've known him a long time. He and I used to buddy around when we were coming up through the chairs. Him in San Bernardino, and myself in Corona. We had a lot of good times. And Tim worked with me at Tim's office.
Did it?
Yes. Wouldn't be for Tim, I wouldn't have got it done. He was quite an organizer, quite organized.
President Brad Smith's slogan this year is Building Elks Legacy. What would you want your legacy to be?
You know, I don't really know what my legacy should be. I think the important thing is that people should know that I believe in God, my family, my fellow man. I want people to know that I've been honest with my dealings with people, and I hope they remember me for that. That's probably about it.
What advice would you give somebody that wants to move up in Elkdom?
My one advice to anybody coming into the Elks is to be involved. If you don't get involved, you just eventually lose interest, and you eventually end up sitting on the sidelines or not coming to the meeting. You need to get involved. You need to take a job, get a job, do something. Get to know people. That's how you get to know people. Now, I can honestly say, I know people all over the state. And had it not been for Elks, I wouldn't know half the people that I know. It's just a great organization. It draws you out. If you just come and sit, you're eventually not going to come. You need to get involved, and if you get involved and you really are enthusiastic about moving up and taking on jobs in the Elks, they'll come to you, that's for sure. They'll come to you. You won't even have to ask. They'll come to you. Anyhow, it's been quite a ride. Quite a ride. Well, in 1971, that's a little over 51 years, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
51 years. It's a long time. It's a long time.
Do you have any regrets?
Not at all. Not at all. My children were raised in this lodge. I used to lock up one business down the street on West 6th Street, come down here and open up another business called the Elks. My wife used to come down here and clean the floors and vacuum after taking care of 6 children. All my children, and by the way, when I came to the lodge meeting, my kids liked that because they got to decide what's for supper. And Dad wasn't home to tell them, eat your beans. So yes, they enjoyed me coming down here because it was a night where they could eat whatever they wanted to eat at the kitchen table and didn't have Dad pestering them. That's true. Well, I think, in my opinion, Ken Moore was one of the better Grand Exalted rulers. He was a great Corona elk. He was quite inventive. He had a great memory for numbers and dates. He was a good friend, a mentor, a good mentor, and a good friend. You know, we've spent many times together chatting and going over things and talking. And if I had any problems that I needed to talk over with him, he was more than happy to sit down and have a chat. And Diane and I were friends with he and Rosemary. I remember when we went to Grand Lodge when he came in as Grand Exalted Ruler in Chicago. We had a great time. We know his family, all of his children. And very good experience. I miss him.
I would like to thank Frank Keller for taking time out of his schedule and coming to talk with me. It's important for us to learn from the past so we can embrace the future. Until next time, I'm Patrick Akes reminding you, it's great to be an elk.